Welcome back from that break. And now to our next discussion on financial freedom blueprint. We have Coach Chiozokam Obinwa, who is a portfolio manager. He's going to speak to us on how to gain your financial freedom by having a plan that you stick to manage your finance. Welcome to Good Morning Abuja.
Thank you, thank you. Good to be
All
here.
right.
Good to be here. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Welcome.
Thank
We're
you.
talking about the financial freedom blueprint. A blueprint has to do with a manual, a plan on how to manage your finances. Looking at Nigerian youths, what do you think would be their financial freedom blueprint?
Okay, let me start off with the generic factors
Okay.
that can generally affect personal finances. First of all, before I forget, it's good to be here. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much
All
for
right.
having me. So,
Mm,
there are three personal factors I think that can affect a lot of people, youths, financially.
okay.
Personal factors, background factors, societal factors. Starting
Factors.
with personal factors, personal beliefs of a lot of people about money. Starting off with that, most of them, if you interview them personally, you find out that they have very wrong beliefs about money and how money is actually being made. Going about
Okay.
background factors, you find out that some people, because of the things they've heard about from their parents, it's very easy to become wealthy when you have wealthy parents because
Wow.
it's easy to just watch what they do
Okay.
and just learn of it that way. But
Okay.
unfortunately, the majority of the country were quite a very strange time. So a lot of people just watch their family, watch their parents struggle, and they just kind of just copy what they
What do you
do.
do?
So you just by the time they get to age of accountability, they've actually carried that over and they are living their parents' life
Life.
even without knowing that. Then
Okay.
societal factors, unfortunately, with the advent of social media, there's a lot of wrong information going out there. You
Yes.
see a lot of people flaunting a lot of things online, flaunting wealth, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't actually trace the source. You can't
Okay.
trace it. You can't know what they're doing actually,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them that are actually legitly wealthy don't teach it. That's just
Okay.
the bad thing about the society. You find out that people that actually made it legitly, they actually don't teach it. Probably
Okay.
because they don't have the time to,
To
and
teach.
also that's at least when you handle these three factors as a person, as a human, as a youth, it gives you at least you now know that the only thing you need to do now, first of all, is adjustments of your mindset. That's step one.
Okay.
Adjust your mindset about, well, know that this is what it entails, and these are the steps that can use to actually make it work.
Okay.
And then, secondly, you now need a plan. A plan includes both a skill, includes your personal goals of how to achieve it. You set timelines for yourself. Personally, for myself, I use a lot of motivation boards. I do a lot of writing. If I have
Okay.
something I want to plan, for instance, okay, going into the year 2023, I had written down plans,
Mhm.
things I wanted to achieve,
Okay.
and how to achieve them. The mistakes that people make when they set goals is that there is no plan on how to achieve the
Okay.
goal. You
Achieve
just
You
know
the
have a
that
plan of
this is
what you
what
want,
okay.
but
exactly
you don't have a plan of
Of
how
achieving.
you want
Want to
to
achieve it.
yes
get that thing
how
you
Mm.
to
want.
achieve it. So
Okay.
most people, that's just their issue. That's
Okay.
just a major problem. They have the plan. They know, okay, I want to buy a car. Okay, how? What's the plan? How does it go?
Okay.
And most people sometimes when you just I can tell you, I just believe in some in the grace of God. I just believe that some factor
Something.
somehow things will work out for me. But you need to have a plan. It
Okay.
starts with that. Then number three is collaboration. Okay,
Okay.
nobody goes gets to the top alone. When you get to the top alone, it's probably not the top because if you're going to get to the top, you need a lot of people. You need to know there are people you need to know. There are some people you need to learn what they're doing. You need mentors. You need coaches. So handling those three factors at least is enough to get you started. So
Yes.
probably into the discussion, I have a lot to say about that.
So
Yes,
about
when you
it.
started the conversation,
Mm.
you talked about having the knowledge of
How
how
to make
money is
money
made,
make.
and
Yeah.
that brings us to my question, which is on early financial education. Yes, when we're talking about financial education, how early
Should.
should we begin to have financial
Mm.
education, and how important is it?
Okay, I think this one will be a symposium, a national symposium discussion because
Okay,
truth is the most impressionable age of any human is the teenage years.
yes,
From the age
Mm.
of at least from let's say 12 up to 19
19.
years,
Okay.
it's when the brain can
Mm.
capture the most information. It is said some theories say quote that the brain peaks at age 25. the
Okay.
25, it probably just starts
Oh,
declining a little bit
decline.
from there. So the best
Oh,
time to teach a child about money is when the brain is actually most
mm,
impressionable. But because I think because of religious factors, we tend to, okay, let's not make them to be overly conscious about money. Let's not make them to become greedy and stuff like that. We tend to withhold these vital information from them. But the truth is, subjects like money, subjects like entrepreneurship, subjects like business,
business.
are things
Okay.
that should be introduced as early
Early.
as possible.
Okay.
At the age of 12, 13, you should begin to tell them about money. Because at the end of the day, when they become, when they become accountable, by the time they get married and settle down, money becomes the real issue. And sometimes what happens, one of the major reasons why you see parents having issues with their grown-up children is
Mm,
because they didn't teach them the things they're supposed to teach them early. And somehow, and unconsciously, especially here in Nigeria, parents use their children as retirement plans. They're
yes.
hoping that at the end of your years, you probably hope their children take care
Mm,
of you. So why
mm,
not begin to teach them early the things
enough.
that they should know? So I think
Okay.
it's very, very important to impute this in that, our curriculum,
Good.
teaching curriculum, all of that is very, very necessary. So it's very, very, very important to start teaching kids this very, very early.
Okay.
So teaching them very early, do you think it will lead to financial independence for the youth?
Yes, of course it should. Of course it should, especially if it is done rightly.
Okay.
The way I see it, like I already mentioned, you find out that people that are really wealthy, most of them either they don't have time to teach it, because who would be in the best position to teach you how to have money if not somebody that already has it?
That's it.
So there should be some form of I don't know how we'll do that, but I think it's something if we take to a national level, probably they will have to come to an agreement on that. Somehow you have to bring, we have a lot of you know, multinational companies that started here in Nigeria to be able to somehow bring out some form of time and begin to teach younger generations how these things was done.
Mm,
You find out that sometimes, okay, for instance, I'm a medically trained person. I'm a physical therapist by training, although I'm not practicing.
practicing.
I'm into finance.
Okay.
You find out while on campus, we were taught by practicing physical therapists. We are taught by doctors. You understand? So, for if you're talking about money, it should be somebody that at least to an extent has it. But you find out that even when you're in school systems where you're learning economics, business management, you just know that these people are just teaching. They don't really know it.
No.
You see an economics teacher
Mm,
who is not in any way economically stable.
oh, yes.
So there should be something that should change in our lecturing and educational system that should
Okay.
factor in these things so that we begin to have quality educations and have them very early in order to salvage what we have left of the economy.
Exactly. Let's say
Okay.
in Nigeria, we are stronger believers in do what I say, not what I do. Take the message,
Exactly.
not the personality
Reality.
that says the
True.
message.
True.
But talking about financial literacy now,
Mm,
we've talked about how early
you
this
should be
financial
into it.
literacy should be introduced and how money is being made,
Made
especially by those who have money,
money
how it's easy for you to be able to have money
to
just
give
by
what you have.
watching or being from a place that have money. But what are the specific aspects of this financial literacy that we should focus on?
I think we should focus a lot on entrepreneurship
Okay.
Okay.
because no nation grows without businesses. When we have enough businesses employing a lot of people, a lot of the security challenges we have will go down. If we have a lot of businesses that have grown to employ thousands, 20,000, 30,000, 50,000, a
Yes.
lot of people that are on the streets looking
Look for
for
job.
a lot of people to harm, to steal their phones, bags, and all of that. That will not be happening.
Okay.
So these are very, I think entrepreneurship we should have a lot of both policies that support young
Entrepreneurship.
entrepreneurs.
Okay.
But unfortunately, so especially in this country, it's very any young person you see that has made a certain level of wealth, there's this suspicion that the society
Yes.
poses at you because
Yes.
they feel like it's not normal that you should make it young.
Somebody so
So
young.
the general mindset of the society doesn't even support a young person to actually attain a level of wealth.
Achieve.
doesn't support a young person to come out and say, okay, this is what I can do, and
Oh,
I can do it quite well. And the government would somehow bring out some form of support for you. So I think entrepreneurship is something that if we really, really, I think the government is actually serious about it. But if we really want to take it to the next level, entrepreneurship is something that we should really, really
great.
put it. I mean, make a very big budget for supporting SMEs. Small companies are trying to start up and do something.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me take you back to planning. You
Okay.
said if you made a plan, you should stick to it and achieve it. What if you deviate from your plans? Will you affect your achievement?
Yes and no. Yes
Oh,
and no.
okay.
Now, I personally believe that if you have a destination, the only thing detours can do for you is to make you to take a
Delay.
longer time.
Yeah,
Okay.
just
It can
delay.
just delay your journey.
Delay is not denial. I heard that one
Exactly,
before.
exactly. So it can only just delay the
Delay.
journey. But at the
Okay.
end of the day, even if your plan doesn't work out, that's why they say you have plan A, plan
Plan
B,
B.
plan C. You understand? So
Okay.
even if your first plan doesn't work out, you should, before even starting the journey, you should have backup plans. You have something, okay, if this
Okay.
doesn't work out, this is
Work.
what I
Okay. I
actually want to
switch.
do.
Okay.
So it
Okay.
might just take a little bit a little bit longer, but it shouldn't. I should
Do not
actually,
affect the
yeah, it
achievement.
should, it should,
All right.
it should.
Okay.
um, Nigeria as a country,
Mhm.
its people, we have this rich cultural history when it comes to learning,
Okay.
passing down knowledge. Sometimes not in the conventional classroom style, and I'm talking about how we teach skills, how we teach trade, how we teach investment values, and the rest of that. You go to the corner, you will find a very viable system where children from their early years are already introduced to trade,
Mhm.
hawking, buying, selling,
Selling.
and everything. You
Agriculture.
come to the
Mhm.
east, there's a strong apprenticeship
Yes.
culture
Yeah.
Culture.
where from as young as you are, you in fact you meet a young boy at any spare part market,
Mhm.
you would think
He
if
has
you
been
give him,
into it
he
for
might be
long.
able to assemble a car for
Yeah.
you. You understand? And
Yeah,
so we
yeah.
have that from carpentry to welding to all of these entrepreneurship skills that we talk about. And now, what do you think is the problem? Is it that it is because this is not happening in a conventional classroom style? There is no particular set standard that makes it impossible for us to be able to say we've been able to grow. Because there are lots of success stories,
Yeah,
but at the same time,
sure.
there have been not very pleasant stories from this
Mm.
kind of arrangement.
Why are we
How
not
do you
getting
think
right?
we
Right.
should tackle
Mm.
this? Because
Okay.
it's not the things that are missing, the things are there,
Mm.
the process to do them are there, they might
Mm.
be unconventional. But what do you think? What's the missing link?
Mm.
Okay, we're national television, so there's some things I might not be able to like go into details
Okay.
on, but truth be told, being an Igbo person,
Mm.
I know this, I know what you're saying by experience because my dad was a businessman,
Wow.
so we
Okay.
had a lot of sales boys that were even staying in the house. At some point, I had like 12 of them, so I know this firsthand because I know how those guys became later in life and how the system actually built them up.
Yes.
Now, but truth be told, a lot of the reasons why I feel our potentials are inhibited, even though some of us discover them early,
Mm.
is because generally Nigeria is not, we are more import dependent
Depends.
than export.
Okay.
So that on the national level sets the tone for
Pace.
even the average business. The average business person is just wants to have enough just for Nigerians. You understand? So even that alone shapes your thinking. That alone limits personally limits the how much you think you
You
can take
can
your
move
business
forward.
to. So no matter
Okay.
how much you've been able to gain the knowledge, gain the skills, and all of that, somewhere along the way, you will notice that some form of both limitations in policies, limitations in some legal stuff that can on in other countries would naturally beat your favor. But you find out that somehow some might just inhibit your
Hmm.
actions. So I think this is not a personal. It's not that Nigerians are bad in business. It's just that the environment we find ourselves somehow is kind of limited. We need more encouragement. Of course, I know they are doing a lot already, but we need more encouragement in terms of reshaping the culture to think export. Whatever skill you have, other countries need it. It can be needed in no matter what it is, no matter what the product is needed in other countries. And the bigger you think,
so we should not. We're not saying now that because is needed in other country, it means you just pack up and just take it to
Take
the
it.
other country. It means that you have to produce enough to satisfy your local market
Before
as well as meeting
exporting.
international demand, right?
yes,
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Because
Thank
we have a
you.
lot of people jackpot now.
Japas, so they will jump out with all the products out of the country. You've heard it from Coach Chiozokam Obinwa, who is a portfolio manager. He has explained to us that you need to plan, have early financial literacy for you to be able to have financial freedom.